Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, written by Adrienne Rich. Adrienne Rich was born in Baltimore, Maryland, USA. She is widely known for her involvement in contemporary women's movement as a poet and theorist. She has published 19 volumes of poetry, three collections of essays, and other writings. A strong resistance to racism and militarism echoes through her work. The poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers addresses the constraints of a married life, a woman experience. So, children, before I say anything much about the poem, though you might have got a little idea about this poem through the last sentence of when we were talking about Adrienne Rich. So, this poem addresses the constraints, that is, the restrictions, the limitations of a married woman's life. So, Aunt Adrienne Rich herself was involved in contemporary women's movement as a poet and theorist. So, this gives us a little clue as to what this poem might be about. So, before we talk much about like what this poem is about, let's first enjoy the poem. Let's first try to make out on our own like what this poem is about. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hands. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. So, this is the small poem of three stanzas. Let's read the line once again, read the poem once again to see what this poem is all about. And when you're reading, you try to find answers to a few questions. For example, who are the tigers? Who are the tigers in this poem? We come to know like Aunt Jennifer's tigers. Who are the tigers? I mean, like what's the relationship between Aunt Jennifer and tigers? Right? Second question is, what is Aunt Jennifer's condition? Like what kind of experience of Aunt Jennifer is being mentioned here? What is Aunt Jennifer's mental condition? Okay. So is she happy or sad? And why? Explanation a little bit. Right? So only two questions I've asked you to keep in mind when you find the answers to. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. So, got it? So, here I asked you two questions. Like, what's the relationship between Aunt Jennifer and tiger? So, who will give the answer? Who will give the answer? What's the relationship between Aunt Jennifer and tigers? Gunjan, you give the answer, beta. Unmute yourself. Even if your answer is wrong, doesn't matter. You see, you tell what you feel. What's the relationship between Aunt Jennifer and her tigers? Anyone? Rohan Bhardwaj, unmute yourself. So Manvya Sani is saying, so Aunt Jennifer is an artist and tigers are a part of his painting. Yeah. So the answer is Manvya, you're right. So I was asking you, like, what do you think is the relation between Aunt Jennifer and tigers? Because the poem says Aunt Jennifer's tigers. How can tigers be of some person? Because no one has tigers as one's pets. Okay, no one domesticates the tigers. So Aunt Jennifer, so tigers are not Aunt Jennifer's pets. The tigers are Aunt Jennifer's creation. Tigers are creation of art. They have been, created by Aunt Jennifer on a panel or on a screen, right? So on a panel of either it's a cloth. So she has embroidered them out on a panel. So she has embroidered or she has knitted them out on a piece of wool. So the where you has she has created or where she has embroidered that panel, that screen. So Aunt Jennifer has created tigers on a panel of wool. Got it? So she might have either knitted them out or she might have embroidered them. My second question was like, what is her state of mind? What is her state of mind? Is she happy or sad? So that answer is also there in the poem. Without we read much, so there are so many expressions from where we come to know like Aunt Jennifer is dash. So you people tell, is she sad or happy or neutral? What? Give the answer. Tanveer Singh, you tell. Is Aunt Jennifer, do you think
Yes, ma'am.
is Aunt Jennifer happy or sad?
Ma'am, I think she is sad.
Yeah, you're right. What makes you think so?
Ma'am, because she,
Hmm. Yes, yes. Yes, the poem is in front of you. You can
ma'am,
make,
she reminds of her past memories.
she
Yes,
might.
ma'am. She remembers her
She,
past, reminds her past with her husband, with after seeing her wedding band.
okay, when she looks at her wedding band, she becomes sad. Why? Why does the wedding want makes her sad?
Maybe because maybe because his husband must be dead or having gone somewhere else.
Okay, okay,
Far away from-
okay. So she must be sad because her husband might have died. You think so? So there is there any? Do you find any clue to the fact like her husband might have gone or might have died? Do you find any clue to it? What does the third stanza say? See, when aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. Her terrified hands. What do you mean by her terrified hands? How can somebody's hands be terrified? Can somebody's hands be terrified? Yes, no. Only tell me, can somebody's hands be terrified? Yes or no? So Gunjan is telling us that she has not the freedom to do the things as per her wish. So Gunjan, yes, unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, when you say like she doesn't have the freedom to do what she wants, from where you get this clue?
Ma'am, the, and the second stanza, the massive weight of uncle's wedding band.
Hmm. Yes. So how does it tell you that she doesn't have the freedom to do anything of a choice?
Ma'am, that I think she's trying to say that her demands are not being fulfilled.
Then, then what happened?
Ma'am, that's why she said
So you think like Aunt Jennifer is sad because her demands or her desires have not been fulfilled.
demand.
Okay, demands, not a desires. And you think like her
Yes,
demands
ma'am.
might not have been fulfilled. Okay, and another person was telling us that she's sad because her husband might have died. So you people read the poem once again in order to come to any conclusion. It's very easy, like I explain the poem and you come to know. So the thing is, like at this stage we also have to understand like how to understand a poem. I'm reading the poem once again and you try to go deeper into the words, you try to understand in depth, like why is Aunt Jennifer sad. You try to find the answer to this question. This is okay that she is sad. Okay, the poem overall gives you an idea like she is sad, but why is she sad? Try to find out. Aunt Jennifer's tiger, and this I've also told you, like Aunt Jennifer's tigers are her creations. She's created them on a panel of wool. Okay, tigers are embroidered. They are not the real tigers. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen. Bright topaz. Topaz is a yellowish color, dark yellow color. Bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Aunt Jennifer's fingers, fluttering through her wool, find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding wand sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hands. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. So have you got some clue to like why she is sad? Yes, any idea? Any idea? Raise hand now. Any idea? Charanjit, you are very active otherwise. Speak something.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Yes, Charanjit, give your views. Like, why is Aunt Jennifer sad?
Actually, I'm not able to understand this poem as much.
Never mind. It's not like you understand the whole thing. You can make a guess. Like from the reading, you've read the poem for 2 or 3 times. You just try to make out, like, why do you think Aunt is sad?
I think she is sad because of her husband.
Yes. So she is sad because of her husband. So why do you think she might be sad because of her husband?
There is written massive weight of uncle's wedding band, which
Mm.
shows that she is not happy with her wedding.
Yes, very good, Charanjot, very good. That's the point. This point only makes us realize that yes, she's not happy with her married life. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band. What is wedding band? Ring, right? Before wedding, there is a ring ceremony. What happens in the ring ceremony? In the ring ceremony, the bride and the bridegroom, uh, they take a vow to be sincere to each other. Okay, and that wedding ring, you know, is exchanged by the couple. And this is written like this ring is so heavy for her that she cannot even bear the weight of that wedding ring. So is it the wedding ring which is heavy, or is it the wedding itself which is heavy for her to bear? So Charanjit, you hit the right point. You have actually nailed it. It's the wedding ring which she finds very heavy to carry on. So the point is, it's a symbolic thing. It's not the wedding ring which is heavy. It's the responsibilities of the married life which she cannot carry on, which she cannot bear anymore. So the massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hands. So the wedding band cannot be that heavy that she cannot bear it. It's the responsibilities of the married life. It's the restrictions of the married life. It's the limitations or the constraints of the married life, which has burdened her so much that she is no more ready to bear them anymore in her life. She finds it difficult to tolerate wedding restraints anymore. Okay. So why is she so fed up of her wedding band? Why is she so fed up of her wedding life, wed life, or married life? Because that life had been very, very burdensome for her. Now the point arises, like why the wedding life was so burdensome for her. Why was the wed life or married life so burdensome for her? Their answer is in stanza 1. That answer lies in stanza 1. So see the lines. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They are the tigers. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. So they don't fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. So sleek means grace. What is grace? When you do something gracefully, it means that you're doing it effortlessly. Sleek, graceful, elegant. Okay, sleek movement is elegant, full of grace, beauty. Chivalric is courage. Okay, chivalric is related to courage, bravery. So they are graceful, they are courageous. Certainty means confidence, and moreover, they are confident. So who are confident, courageous, and graceful? Tigers. Tigers have these qualities. So tigers actually in this poem, they are symbolic of dash. You will tell me what do you think the tigers are symbolic of? Now let me start the poem. So the main point you all might have come to know by now. Like here, Aunt Jennifer is the one who is a victim of male dominating society. She's a victim of patriarchal society. She's a victim of male dominating society, the society where men have their own say, where men have their say, where men dominate, where the final word is said by men, and women have to follow them without any question. So women have to be the sincere or the unquestioning kinds of people, those who follow their husbands or their men without any question. So here Aunt Jennifer depicts or symbolizes the kind of woman who is suppressed by her dominating husband. So what kind of life that woman leads? The woman whose husband has dominated her throughout her life, the husband who has been so dominating. What's the condition of that woman? This poem tells us this. Okay, it's not that men dominate only the weak woman. It's not this. In a male dominating society, even if the woman is very skilled, even if the woman is very intelligent, even if the woman is very skilled or educated, intelligent, she might have hundreds of qualities, but a male dominating society doesn't let woman grow up, doesn't let woman have her own way out, have her own life. They would try to crush her, they would try to dominate her. As a result, even if the woman is very intelligent or talented, that woman becomes suppressed. And when the woman becomes suppressed, that shows in her mental or psychological, you know, behavior. So what's the first sign of a suppressed woman? If somebody is suppressed, if somebody is snubbed always, how do we come to know that the person has been snubbed? Anyone? How do we come to know that somebody has been snubbed? Come on, anyone? When woman is suppressed, how do we come to know that she has been snubbed? What happens to her? Come on, what happens to a snubbed woman? What happens to a snubbed or suppressed woman? Rather, anyone. If you are suppressed, if you're always oppressed, or if you are always dominated by somebody, what happens to that person or woman or anyone it can be? The person who is suppressed, that person loses confidence. Okay, when you're always told that you can't do this, you don't have to do this, you don't have to go there, you don't have to go there, you don't have to do this, you cannot speak up, you don't have to question anything. When you're always snubbed, when you're always denied the right to freedom, then the result is that you start lacking confidence. And when you start lacking confidence, that lack of confidence shows in your behavior. What kind of behavior you start having? You start having like when you don't have confidence, then your hands start trembling. You start trembling in front of somebody when you're talking. You're not able to express yourself fully. You say many a times, many children say like, I feel like when I have to speak to somebody, then my hands start shivering, then I am not able to, my eyes start stuttering or I start stammering. So when you lose confidence, then you become you lose that you are not able to express yourself fully. Either your hands start trembling, or your sometimes legs start shaking, or sometimes your speech becomes stammering or stuttering. So there is a lack of expression there. Got it? So howsoever doesn't mean that the people whose hands are trembling while speaking, or the people those whose legs start shivering on stage, doesn't mean that they are not intelligent, doesn't mean that they are not talented, but their talent has been snubbed, and they have lost that confidence to express themselves. And why has their confidence been lowered? Why do they feel lack of confidence? Because they have been sometimes or somewhere snubbed. Somebody or somewhere they might have been told that you can't do this. So that thing makes them not come up. Okay, so when you are snubbed too much, when you're not allowed to express yourself fully at every moment of life, then somewhere you lack confidence, and that lack of confidence shows in your physical language, body language, or in your expression. So similar is the kind of behavior of Aunt Jennifer. So Aunt Jennifer, because she has been snubbed by her male dominating husband, she has been snubbed by her husband always. So as a result, today she is the one who lacks confidence. She is the one who lacks courage. She is the one who lacks grace. Right? Grace is, smoothness. When you do something effortlessly. You might have heard some people, let us talk about some singer. So you might have heard some singers singing beautifully. You might have heard some singers singing as if they are, singing naturally so beautiful. You're not able to see the hard work they might have done before that. So when they sing as if they are doing it very naturally. They are not at all making efforts. They do make efforts. They make efforts. They might have worked very hard, but when they present themselves, when they express themselves, then they happen to be very graceful. They look very beautiful. That is because they are very confident. Got it? So here Aunt Jennifer she hasn't got that grace. She doesn't express herself that beautifully because she has lost that confidence and courage. So as a result, her beauty or her grace or elegance has also gone. But Aunt Jennifer, is Aunt Jennifer somebody who is very poor, weak person? Is she a weak person? Is it because she has become very old? That's why she has lost all her grace? The answer is no. She has lost all her grace despite the fact like she is a great artist. How do we know that she is a great artist? Because she has created tigers on a panel of wool, and those tigers appear to be very lively. Those tigers appear to be moving from one place to another, from one tree to another. So the tigers which she has made on the panel of wool, they seem to be prancing. They are so lively. They seem to be so much full of life. So the tigers which she has made on a panel of wool, they are full of life. But Aunt Jennifer, who has created those lively tigers, the one who has created those lovely, lively, ferocious tigers, courageous tigers, graceful tigers, confident tigers, Aunt Jennifer herself is not confident, herself is not courageous, she herself is lacking in that grace. What makes me say that she is lacking in that grace? The fact is, like when she is, knitting with her ivory needle, when she has that ivory needle in her hand, then her hands are shivering. Okay, her shivering hands show that she doesn't have that grace while knitting, but doesn't mean that she is not talented. She is very talented. The proof is the tigers which she has created. So such a talented person lacks courage, lacks confidence, lacks grace, because her husband has dominated her to the extent where she has lost all her confidence, grace, and courage. Okay. So Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen. So Aunt Jennifer, she has created the tigers on a panel of wool. And they seem to be moving. Prancing is moving. And they seem to be prancing. They seem to be moving from one tree to another. They seem to be prancing across a screen. Here a screen is a panel of wool or cloth on which she has done the embroidery. So those tigers seem to be moving from that panel. Bright topaz denizens of a world of green. So those tigers which are bright yellow colored, they have been embroidered in bright yellowish tinge. They have been given bright yellowish color. And they seem to be the inhabitants, denizens, the people who live naturally in some place, inhabitants. Denizens are the inhabitants. So the tigers which she has created on a panel of wool, they are bright yellow colored inhabitants of forest, world of green, forest. So the tigers seem to be the natural inhabitants of the forest, where they seem to be prancing across that panel of wool where they have been created. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. So the tigers, they are fearless of all people around them. So the tigers which she has created on the panel of wool are unafraid of everybody. They are unafraid of the people, those who might be standing beneath the tree. They pace means move. Prance, pace, same meanings. So they prance or they pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. So the tigers move in, they prance or they move about beautifully, gracefully, courageously and confidently. So Aunt Jennifer has created graceful, courageous, and confident tigers on the panel of wool where they seem to be prancing, across the screen, and those tigers have been given bright yellowish colored, and they seem to be the natural descendants of the forest, and they are unafraid, are not afraid of anyone. So the tigers which Aunt Jennifer has created on a panel of wool are actually her own hidden desire. Aunt Jennifer herself is the one who lacks in confidence, courage, and grace. But the tigers she has created are the ones who are courageous, confident, and graceful. So it means that her hidden desire is to be like that. She wants to be courageous. She wants to be confident. She wants to be graceful. But she is not. Because all her confidence, courage, and grace has been taken away or snatched from her by her husband's over dominating behavior. Because of the snobbish nature of her husband, she has become the one who lacks in courage, confidence, and grace, and she wants to be that. So in order to give a vent, in order to give an expression to her desire, she has created these tigers on a panel of wool. So the tigers which she has created, they are symbolic of courage, confidence, and grace. Is that clear? I'm using three words again and again: courage, confidence, and grace. Which words from the poem make me use these words again and again? Sleek, chivalric, certainty. Sleek is gracefulness, beauty. Chivalric is courage, and certainty is confidence. So Aunt Jennifer lacks in these three traits, but the tigers which she has created, they are symbolic of these three qualities only. So what Aunt Jennifer doesn't have, she has expressed her desire to be so through her tigers, through her creation. So is first stanza clear, children? If the first stanza is clear, you can raise hand. So time is almost over. We'll pick up the thing tomorrow.